Hey guys, welcome to the Coz3d YouTube channel, and today we are going to do something a little bit different, and we're not going to do a build video today. Sorry, right now we're getting around the holidays and it's pretty busy for us, and I just don't have enough time. As you can see, I've got two uncompleted props and a bunch of other uncompleted props sitting all around me that you can't see in the camera, of course, but one of the guys from the shop thought that maybe we should do a question and answer session today from a lot of frequently asked questions that we get on YouTube, and they have compiled a list, and I thought we might just go over some of these because I think they'll be helpful for a lot of new builders, even seasoned builders like myself. There's a lot of times that I run across a question, I'm like, oh, I didn't really know. Learn from someone else's mistakes. Learn from my mistakes. I've made enough of them over the years. I can definitely tell you how not to do things. Let's see. Eric Ludvigsen asked a question here recently. It looks like, how does the varnish compare to other matte clear coats? Is it super runny like most, or is there paint that goes on? It goes on amazing and you don't really have to worry about runs. What he's referring to is probably the Shore Trooper build that I just did recently. And let me grab what I use in that video. I use the Montana varnish sprays. I don't like a lot of the clear coats from Rust-Oleum, and let's see, what else do I have over there that I don't like, and why I keep them I don't know. Krylon, not a huge fan of them, but these Montana varnish sprays are really good, and the reason why I like them is because Montana has just made a super good brand of paint products out of a rattle can. The one that I used on the Shore Trooper to seal in any of the weathering that I did was I believe it was a satin varnish. Might have been a matte varnish, I don't remember now, but I keep all three of them on hand as best I can. That one's almost empty. Time to reorder, I guess. But satin, matte, and of course the gloss clear. And these are, like I said, they just dry fast. They're just a good quality clear coat. It is a varnish. It's UV protected. So I did a full Stormtrooper build here recently and used like 3 cans of this on it. And I've noticed that it's as white as the day that I built it. And I've had that built for quite a while, actually, now that I think about it. But really good stuff. Acid free, so it's not going to eat into your paint and discolor it the way some of them typically do. And again, I reiterate, it dries fast. That's one of the biggest things. I'm always in a hurry to get to the next step, and it's good stuff. So let's see, Josh Geeky Workbench 129. How long do you typically wait between applying and buffing? He's talking about rub and buff here. I usually apply it and turn right around and buff it. There's really no wait time, maybe 2 minutes at the most. If I wait, I don't spend much time waiting on it. It doesn't have to cure, it doesn't have to dry. It is a wax-based product that has basically ground up metal into it. It's good stuff. Rub and buff is a wonderful medium to work in when it works. Let's see. Then let's see. Lantern 3814357S. Then do you put a clear coat over it? Again, speaking about rub and buff, no, I do not put a clear coat over rub and buff. It's shiny enough on its own. You can always reapply it if you need to on top of the existing. You can always rebuff it. It really doesn't need a clear coat. The few times that I have put, I know some guys have had some success with putting a varnish clear coat on it. I've never had a real good success rate with that. It typically dulls it. And at that point, if you put a clear coat on rub and buff, by my eye, it looks like paint. So you might as well just paint it silver if you're wanting to put a clear coat on it. Let's see. Boboscures 4130 asks, so the parts can be handled after using this product. It doesn't come off on your hands and make a mess. Again, talking about rub and buff. No, actually, let me grab a thermal detonator. I think I have here somewhere in the shop. I do. This is one that I did rub and buff in here recently, and no, it's once it's on there, it's pretty much on. Can you rub it off? Yes, absolutely. You can rub it off, but fingerprints and stuff like that. I mean, the more you rub on it, the shinier it gets, and it does not leave any type of a residue in your hand. As a matter of fact, I'm actually just making it more shiny the more I handle it here. So, no, it's a good product. Once you get it on there, it stays on there for the most part. And again, if you do rub it off, an edge or a corner or something, you want to put a black base coat down, and you want to do a black clear base coat. Now, I hate gloss black. Full stop right there. Hate gloss black. Takes too long to cure. It's just, if you touch it, moving your parts around, working on it, you're going to leave potentially leave fingerprints in it. Your rub and buff goes over the top. It's just, so what I do, I usually spray my project down with either a flat black or satin black, and then I follow it up with the Montana gloss varnish, and I have great results with that. Let's see here. Corcron Warlord. Will you be making a video on recommended ways to attach the jetpack? That's not an easy answer. Let me just grab a jetpack here real quick so we can address this. I've got one off to the side. I just finished this one. So when we send out our jetpack kits, we include the clips that are on there. Now, they are 3D printed. If you're going to be doing a lot of trooping in this kit, you're probably going to want to replace it with metal. I've trooped in mine for 2 years now, 3D printed brackets, and I've never had an issue with them. That's not to say you can't get one that is weak. The bottom ones here, they actually slide down on the jetpack frame into a metal receiver, and then the top ones just have some D-rings that hook and can be adjusted forward and back however far you want your jetpack to lean off your body. But making the harness itself is something that we've continually talked about it. We haven't found an efficient way to make it. The original was a scuba diver's tank holder that they used on screen, and you can get them from other Etsy sellers, and I think there's an Etsy seller as well that actually does a fiberglass one. So it's similar to what was used on screen, but it's just a solid fiberglass piece that goes on your straps to your back that then the jetpack attaches to. But we've never found an easy and cost-effective way for us to make one, whether 3D printed or any other way. So long answer, longer. Would we like to do a video on recommended ways to attach the jetpack? Yes, we would like to. We just haven't come up with what we think is maybe the best way that looks right. So we'll keep on that though for you. Let's see here. Exatomic Link asks, I spend so much time hand sanding my 3D prints. It's probably time that I finally get a good random orbit sander. What do you recommend? Random orbit sander. So I have if you've got a Harbor Freight close to you, I use the Bauer random orbit sander. I am a big fan of this. I've actually got 3 of these, 3 different three different sandpaper pads applied to each one, so I can just grab it and go. You don't have to fight with the cord. Now I also have a corded one because it's actually, the speed on it's adjustable. So if I'm doing something that I don't want to get dig it too deep into the project by accident, I can dial down the speed, but the cordless ones with the battery actually do one speed, and they're fast, but they're fine. I really like it. The reason I elect usually to use the cordless is because most of the time I step outside the shop when I'm sanding. I don't want all those particulates going into my lungs, since I'm kind of doing this on a long-term basis. I've also got a full shop ventilation system, but sometimes I don't want what doesn't get picked up by that floating around in here and getting on in the printers or anything like that. So I think if you go on Harbor Freight's website, the Bauer Random Orbit Sander is probably, give or take, $60 by the time you're fully invested in that and a battery. So it's not too bad. Let's see, let's go to the next one. How do you seal rub and buff so fingerprints don't mar the finish over time? The answer to that is don't. Like I said earlier, a lot of guys have had some success with varnishing over rub and buff. I've never had true success with it, and by the time I get that done, it looks like it's paint anyway, so there's really no need to seal it. You can always reapply it, you can always rebuff it. So what brand of UV resin do you use to paint out your print lines? That is a good question. Over the course of time, I have used several different brands. The one I'm using right now is just the Sunlu brand. I used to use the ABS-like resin, and I like to print with that more. But the problem with the ABS-like is when you want that, it doesn't, I don't feel like it cures as fast while sitting on top of plastic. So I make sure that I do just a regular Sunlu now. I keep a bottle separate. So I got all kinds of different colors mixed in it. So it's just left over. Usually when I apply that, I put it under the UV light. I spray isopropyl alcohol on it. I wipe it down. I put it back under the UV light. I bring it back out, spray it down, wipe it down again. And if it's still tacky, I go for a third run. If it's not really that tacky, then I start sanding on it. So it's a pretty quick way to get your 3D print lines out. Over the years, I've used a lot of masking tape, and I always seem to have bleed out or runs. What kind of tape do you use when you're masking off your projects? Well, let me grab some and we'll take a look here. I will say that buying cheap tape is not the way to go. I most often buy Frog tape, is probably my favorite brand. I've got some of this cheap painter's tape that I think I picked up at Menards. As you can see, it's not open because the other one that was open, I might have used it for another project or thrown it away. Duck brand, again, I don't know where that came from. I don't use it. Now the Duck brand clean release, the blue, I do like that. Frog tape again, Frog tape, and Frog tape. So there you go. Frog tape is probably my go-to. I did buy a couple, let's see, a 3M, and I have no idea what brand this is. Probably Frog as well. Different sizes. The thinner stuff helps you kind of get around, contours. Like if you want to mask off around this contour, the thinner stuff does bend a little better, as the big stuff obviously doesn't. But that's about it for tape. My best recommendation is light coats so that you don't bleed through, because if you don't have your tape pushed down properly, when you go to start spraying your paint, it can leach in underneath the tape. So the better quality Frog tape is probably the best recommendation. So, well, that's it, guys. I appreciate your time today, and hopefully we touched on some stuff that maybe new builders or even seasoned builders can take something away from. I do ask that you make sure you like and subscribe for us. It helps us produce more content. And feel free to jump down in the comments, especially on this video. Jump down in the comments if you have a question or you want something kind of explained, or maybe we can make a whole video out out of a procedure or a process that we do that might be able to help you out later, because if it helps you, it's going to help other people too. So thanks for joining us today, and check out our Etsy store under Coz3d. We'll see you next time.